It's the big news just out from the government. The government of India has released its first set of guidelines for COVID treatment of children, that is, persons below the age of 18 years. The government has issued detailed guidelines that apply not just now, but also perhaps in the third wave that's coming, which is likely to affect children more. The most salient points of these new guidelines include restriction of the use of remdesivir in children, restrictions in the use of steroid use, and also barring for kids with mild or asymptomatic infections. The government has also recommended warm saline gargles and 6-minute walks for kids. We will detail for you much more on what precisely these new guidelines are in just a moment. COVID treatment guidelines for children, a 12-page manual that has been released by the Indian government and issued across the country. The Health Ministry has prohibited the use of antiviral drug remdesivir for children. Antibiotics, the Health Ministry has authorized its only use is if there is a secondary bacterial infection. The Health Ministry has also prohibited self-medication using steroids in children, especially in asymptomatic and mild cases. The use of steroids has been approved only by a doctor in severe and critical children's cases. The Health Ministry has additionally recommended limited and rational use of CT scans in children. In the case of multi-system inflammation, the Health Ministry has suggested the use of intravenous immunoglobulin, steroids and antibiotics, once again only in critical and serious cases. The Health Ministry has suggested 6-minute walk test to monitor oxygen levels of young citizens, people below the age of 18 years. The Health Ministry has issued mask guidelines for children as well. Kids less than 5 years do not require masks. Very important. Children less than 5 years old, the government says they do not require masks. Aged between 6 to 11 years, they have to start wearing their masks. Kids above the age of 12, they must use masks, possibly even double masking wherever necessary. Now remember, the spotlight is on the effect of this third wave that's coming up on children, and cities across the country are already gearing up. Bengaluru, for instance, has set up a committee to tackle the COVID-19 third wave, expected to transfer the burden of infection onto children. The Bengaluru civic body is organizing a workshop for 50 doctors where they will be given hands-on training in operating ventilators and other equipment specifically designed to treat children. Here's that report from Bengaluru by India Today's Nagarjun Dwarkanath.
Daily COVID infections are at the lowest in 2 months. Test positivity rate is down to less than 5% in over half of India's districts. The worst of the second wave seems to be over, but it is not the time to be complacent. Many cities are getting ready to face a third wave if it happens. This is a workshop organized in Bengaluru by the civic body BBMP. It is training 50 pediatricians for COVID fight, as several experts have warned that the third wave could affect the kids most. The doctors are getting hands-on training in operating ventilators, use of non-invasive ventilation and management of shock in children.
Demo doll is being used, and the doctors also will learn the procedures, how to do it, because remember, the Delta variant is quite serious and third wave would be more difficult to tackle is what the experts say, and that's the reason why BBMP has swung into action today, training the top 50 pediatricians in their sector so that they can teach the remaining doctors. The government is quite serious about the third wave, which would start in November or December as per the experts. They want to tackle it and be prepared as much as possible, and also the Karnataka government has started 70 to 80 bedded pediatric center in every district and taluk level, which will be helpful in tackling the third wave as such.
In the hospital, you have to accommodate parents also, mother or father, because below 5 years children, they need a very important mother or father. So that's why we are accommodating the father and our mother for treatment.
According to the research of the American Academy of Pediatrics, for every 1 lakh children, 5,000 are testing positive in the US. The BBMP says if the same is extrapolated to Karnataka, which has 1.88 crore population up to 18 years, then 9,43,566 could get infected. The civic body says it is predicted that 2% of the positive children are expected to require hospitalization, which would add to 18,871.
When number of cases again rise in the third wave, that will become an issue in which our doctors need to be trained. Eminent pediatricians, pulmonologists and other specialist doctors would be speaking to a set of our doctors who are working in the primary health centers.
Experts have so far maintained there is no scientific evidence so far that a new wave will hit children in particular. The BBMP is not taking chances. It is better to be safe than be sorry. With Nagarjun Dwarkanath in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
Now remember, Bharat Biotech has initiated clinical trials for the children's version of Covaxin. The trials have begun in AIIMS, Delhi and in Patna. Here's more by Milan Sharma. And this is a report that answers questions that every single parent in this country is currently asking. When will vaccines be available for my children? Take a look.
In the United States, kids between 12 to 17 years of age group have started getting vaccinated. Several other countries too have approved the Pfizer vaccine for children. In India too, trials of Bharat Biotech's Covaxin have begun on children between 2 to 18 years of age. The All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi has also begun screening children for clinical trials of Made in India vaccine.
ये जो क्लिनिकल ट्रायल्स हैं वो डेटा जनरेट करने का है कि बच्चों के लिए क्या वैक्सीन सेफ है तो क्या इफेक्टिव भी है, उसी को देखने के लिए ट्रायल्स हैं.
At AIIMS Patna and AIIMS Delhi, clinical trials of Covaxin on children are currently ongoing. At least 10 children have been given the first dose of Covaxin at AIIMS Patna. The second dose now will be administered 28 days later. At Meditrina Hospital in Maharashtra's Nagpur, 41 children between the age of 12 to 18 will be given the first dose of Covaxin. Kids, however, are nervous as well as excited to get their first jab.
काफ़ी मैं ट्रस्ट करती हूँ अपने साइंटिस्ट्स को, तो ज़्यादा मतलब खुशी भी है, डर भी है.
अब तक बच्चों के लिए अपने देश में कोई वैक्सीन नहीं है, तो ये स्वदेशी वैक्सीन है जिसका ट्रायल हो रहा है. और जब नागपुर में हो रहा है तो हमने अपने बच्चे को आगे रखा ताकि ये ट्रायल सक्सेस अगर होता है तो हमारे देश के सभी बच्चे सुरक्षित हो पाएंगे और उन्हें जल्दी से जल्दी वैक्सीन मिलेगा.
12 से 18 वयोगट के बच्चों का चयन किया हुआ है. इनको आज वैक्सीन हो जाएगा. इसके बाद 2 से 6 और 6 से 12 ऐसे 2 और कैटेगरीज में उनको डिवाइड करके उनका भी आगे शीघ्र ही वैक्सीनेशन होगा.
So far, India has not approved any vaccine for children. The Covaxin trial on those between 2 to 18 years will be conducted on a total of 525 children, and they'll be divided into 3 groups. The first group will have children in the 12 to 18 years of age category. The second will include kids between 6 to 12 years, and the third group will have kids into 2 to 6 year age bracket. The Covaxin trials come at a time when threat of a third wave impacting children the most is looming large.
कोई भी वेव आने का एक साइंटिफिक रीज़न होता है और उसको हम लोग अपने टीचिंग में भी बताते हैं कि एजेंट, होस्ट और इन्वायरमेंट, इन तीनों पे निर्भर करता है कि कोई वेव कैसे आता है. होस्ट का मतलब बच्चे हैं, क्या इन्फेक्टेड नहीं हुए हैं, अगर नहीं हुए हैं तो आ सकता है, बहुत ही बड़ा वेव आ सकता है. जो भी हमारे एविडेंसेस हैं, जो भी सीरो सर्वे से ही हम एविडेंस जनरेट करते हैं, वो ये बताते हैं कि एडल्ट से कहीं भी कम बच्चे इन्फेक्ट नहीं हुए.
While trials for Covaxin on children have begun, here's a status check on vaccines for kids. Bharat Biotech is also developing a nasal vaccine for children. Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine has been approved for 12 to 18 year age group in the United States, Singapore and UAE. Moderna too is conducting KidCo vaccine study for kids aged 6 months to 12 years. Vaccine is the biggest arsenal in the fight against the coronavirus. With trials now starting on children, India is set to strengthen its armor and secure its kids. Bureau Report, India Today.
And this is the vaccine status that is currently there in India and across the world as far as vaccines for children are concerned. We've just shown you how Covaxin trials are currently underway for children aged between 2 and 18. This is happening in India. Bharat Biotech, the makers of Covaxin, are also working on a nasal vaccine for children. Zydus Cadila, another pharma giant, is testing on children. Those trials are also currently underway. It's expected that Zydus Cadila will apply for a license of its COVID vaccine called ZyCoV-D probably in the next couple of weeks. So these two children-specific vaccine products are going to be perhaps available in the next few months. Now, what's the global status? Pfizer, the American company, has been authorized for use in children up to the age of 15 in the EU, the US and certain other countries, and has already been given to children in some of those countries. Moderna, also a US company, is testing its vaccine for children below the age of 12 and is yet to be authorized. CoronaVac, this is a Chinese vaccine. It has got emergency authorization for vaccination of children aged between 3 and 17 years of age. So the US, EU and China and a few other countries, vaccinations are either already happening or are about to happen for people below the age of 18 years. 2 vaccine candidates here in India are currently being trialed for use on children. So the third wave is going to come. There is almost a unanimous view that children will be possibly more affected this time because the burden of infections will go on to children. And I have with me 3 pediatricians treating COVID patients, young COVID patients across the country, to get their perspective. It's a first-hand perspective because these are doctors who are treating children amidst the COVID pandemic. Dr. Karthik Nagesh is HOD and consultant neonatologist and pediatrician at the Manipal Hospital in Bengaluru. Dr. Jessel Sheth is a senior consultant pediatrician at Fortis Hospital in Mumbai. Dr. Anita Bakshi is Senior Consultant Pediatrics at the Indraprasth Apollo Hospitals in the national capital. Very, very happy to have all of you with me on this show. A hugely important question. Dr. Bakshi, I'd like to start with you. We've been hearing for weeks now about how children will be, more affected in this coming third wave. We've also already seen instances of children being affected quite a bit in certain pockets of India, especially some districts of Maharashtra. The government, Dr. Bakshi, has put out its first detailed set of guidelines on the treatment of children with COVID, which will apply now as well as perhaps in the upcoming third wave. Your assessment, ma'am, of these new guidelines that have come out?
By and large, so far, we haven't seen too many COVID positive children. But the fact that we have been seeing the inflammatory syndrome, which is something that follows COVID infection,
yes,
gives us an idea that children too are being affected by the coronavirus infection. So far, children who are affected are either asymptomatic or they have very mild respiratory or even commonly gastrointestinal symptoms.
Yes.
We are of the opinion that in many places where the entire family is affected by COVID, the babies too are likely to be positive. It's just that many of them are not tested. Our major concerns are with, the very young ones, the ones that are less than a year old.
Yes.
Probably with the adolescents, maybe 14 to 18 or even 12 to 18, and especially children who may have other comorbidities like asthma or some underlying condition like a congenital heart disease and something like that.
Yes.
Those are the children who are likely to run into trouble.
Okay.
The other concern is, of course, that we've kept the children isolated for so long. They've been indoors, so probably they don't have much immunity to the respiratory viruses at present. So as regards the guidelines, by and large, as of present, we don't advocate, there is no recommendation for the routine what we are using in the adults like
Yes.
Pavi or Remdesivir in children.
Hmm.
The COVID infection in children is to be initially managed symptomatically along with monitoring, especially for respiratory status and pulse oximetry. And which means that, we check a pulse oximetry and then we make them walk for some time,
Yes.
5 to 6 minutes, and then check the pulse oximetry again. If they don't have any respiratory discomfort and they don't have any fall in saturations, then they're not to be given either an antibiotic or an antiviral. And especially the first few days, that is the first 5 days of the virus infection, we expect that the virus is actively replicating,
Yes.
and as such, steroids too are to be avoided. The indications for steroids are very limited and they should be used with great caution. That's something that we've learned even from the adult population, is that the indiscriminate use of steroids can often lead to problems which, come into the picture later on.
Yes.
So be very, very guarded about using steroids in children. And the recommendations are also like that unless they have significant respiratory compromise, meaning they need hospitalization and they need oxygen therapy, up until then, steroids are not recommended.
Okay, yes. Dr. Sheth, to bring you in on this, the parents across the country right now, Dr. Sheth, are panicking because, while it is true that children have either not been infected very much or have mostly been asymptomatic, there is this sense that with this scary third wave coming, we don't really understand much about what's going to happen then. Parents don't want to take a chance. They're wondering when vaccines are going to become available. These guidelines have come now from the government. How are you advising parents who come to you with those concerns, ma'am?
So basically what we need to understand is that the virus is not going to fly to the children. So there has to be a cross infection.
Yeah.
So either the parents bring the infection at home or children attend any kind of the gatherings with other children or other functions where they are going to get infected. So what we have to actually keep emphasizing to everyone is that the COVID measures are very important. Vaccines are certainly going to come. Government is acting very proactively. Every state government is acting very proactively to keep training the people to the grassroots level in the best possible way. Multiple workshops every day, at least in Maharashtra, are happening to keep training so many pediatricians and the paramedics to, have some kind of the standardization of the care and
Yes.
cohorting and isolations and referral strategies. And each one of us are putting some efforts to, contribute to those guidelines and to contribute to those training. But at the same time, it is the responsibility of the parents to continue to, maintain the COVID measures themselves.
Yes.
And keep telling the children that till the vaccine comes, at least children need to maintain the COVID measures. And at the same time, it is also being seen that children are really depressed because of the lockdowns, lack of the physical
Absolutely.
exercise, lack of the physical schooling. So what normally I talk to children and I tell them and keep telling the parents also that it is okay to play. What we have to tell the children that when they play, they run, fast, they feel breathless. And if they want to put their guard down or want to have a water break, they need to be in the corner, maybe 6-10 meters away to have a water break.
Yes.
But apart from that, we have to continue COVID measures because our all frustrations are around masks until we get enough vaccinations on board.
Yes.
And understand that they are protective enough. We need to continue to wear the mask. So
Yes.
this is where we are. We cannot be locked forever because I think
Absolutely.
lockdown is more scarier than actually dying itself. But at the same time, resources also have to be allocated in a right way to right people. So no need to be panic and continue to do COVID measures and keep in touch with your pediatricians. And as Dr. Anita has said, we are very conservative in using steroids in children. We are very conservative
Yes.
of using Remdesivir in
Which is a good
children.
thing.
Judicious use and allotment of the resources at the right time to right indicated children will be very necessary step, in the next 6 months. The third wave is a possibility. It has not happened. The real tiger has not come. But the
Yeah.
good part is, we are learning from other countries. We are learning from, these clusters of the outbreaks in children. And if you really look at them, even if, in Ahmednagar or in other pockets where too many children are infected, but number of the children dying because of the COVID, those numbers are far lesser compared to the adults.
Absolutely.
And that is itself is reassuring. But at the same time, it is better to have no COVID at all till we get the vaccine.
No, very true. I agree with you. I agree with you, Doctor, especially in the fact that, the lockdown can't be, non-stop and uninterrupted. There has to be an end to it because the world needs to move on. Dr. Karthik Nagesh, sir, the guidelines that have been issued by the government today are quite detailed. They provide a pretty step-by-step, easy to understand kind of a flowchart method of how to treat each case according to how severe a child's infection may be. How useful are these guidelines in your view, sir, with what you've seen in children's infections and what you are expecting in the third wave?
Thank you, Shiv, and I must really thank you for explicitly pointing out all the details. I've been listening to you and my other colleagues. Very nicely, they pointed out what are the expectations from pediatricians, hospitals, and the community, and how to probably prevent the third wave from coming and how to manage children well once the third wave comes in. Let's hope it doesn't come.
Yes.
The guidelines are very, very good. In fact, I would say they're very, very practical. In this last 3 months since the second wave started, we have seen that most of these children, as Dr. Sheth and Bakshi pointed out, most of these children can be managed well if the parents are well sensitized. And these children, most of the times, this last about 2 months, we had about 40,000 children in the city of Bangalore, and we have been able to manage most of them at home. Now, hospitals like ours, where I do mostly intensive care for children and newborn babies, we have seen maybe about 2% of the babies come in with sickness requiring hospitalization, and about half of them requiring intensive care. The other concern we have is in the event, mothers, especially pregnant ladies, if they get COVID, this antibody, which is acquired by the mother during her illness, gets transferred on to the newborn. And this is another way which I'm a little bit worried about, where the baby himself is not really causing, getting the disease, but the mother has had the COVID infection and the inflammatory syndrome happens to occur in the baby. Now, these are unpredictable situations. We recently had this last week a couple of babies who the mothers had no symptoms. They had not even had any symptoms of COVID. Even their RT-PCR at the time of birth was negative, but then the babies became very sick. And lo and behold, we found that the babies had COVID IgG antibodies in them and they had a multi-inflammatory syndrome. So this is another thing which has to be highlighted. Possibly the task force guidelines which the government has done, and it's a very good kind of guidelines they published. They should probably include the aspect of the newborn multi-inflammatory syndrome also, which is likely to be probably increasing in the next few months. But I think these are fantastic guidelines, and if we follow the correct protocols and admit only the very sick children, and then again, we should not forget, as Dr. Sheth also pointed out, the child and the baby, and the parent is a mother and child diet. So you cannot expect the child to be separately admitted and looked after alone in an intensive care.
Absolutely.
So you have to make provision for parents to be associated along with the child. Sometimes the child is alone because the parents have got afflicted with COVID. So as Dr. Bakshi also pointed out, we have to make sure parents are vaccinated as soon as possible. That's the only source of infection probably the child is going to get sitting at home. And pregnant ladies, we have to look forward to guidelines coming across for immunizing pregnant ladies also. That is still not yet recommended. Lactating mothers have been recommended for vaccination now. So if we were to take care of all these things, we should be prepared probably better in the next few months to look forward to looking after these children better. But I'm really hoping that the vaccination for children also should come in soon. As you rightly pointed out, the immunization studies are starting. I have it from a colleague of mine who is part of the study which has started now, Covaxin study, that before the test was, the screening test has been done before the children, healthy volunteers were taken up for the vaccine. Nearly 90% of the healthy children they have screened before giving the vaccination trials have tested positive for the antibodies, which means really at the community level, it's likely, and it's a very good thing that herd immunity has already developed in most of the children. And that's a very good sign that if even if the vaccine comes up and many of the children are already protected by naturally acquired subclinical infection, I think that would be a great thing to look forward to, and hopefully children should not become very sick.
Absolutely. Dr. Bakshi, one more round of questions with the three of you. Given the kind of faltering adult vaccination program that we've seen in the country so far, parents are worried that the same kind of thing will happen as far as children are concerned. Is that a concern for pediatricians like you as well? That while we all agree that vaccination of children is going to be extremely important and should happen as early as conceivably possible, that there could be problems there as well?
Well, that has been our concern, I think, right from the moment the governments decided that people beyond the age of 18 years should be vaccinated. Now, that cutoff caused a great deal of, arguments or concern, actually. Basically, because why are we using a cutoff of 18 when we know that the likely vulnerable population in the next wave is likely to be the younger population? Yeah. The other concern here is that we've kept children indoors for nearly a year and a half. They need to get on with their lives. Schools need to open, because at the end of the day, otherwise we'll be creating more psychological problems than problems that COVID itself can cause as far as children are concerned.
Right.
So since as of now, there's so much confusion about the vaccine. They give one dose, then the timing for the next dose is changed from 4 weeks to 6 weeks to 8 weeks. So we need, the government needs to prioritize to immunize the kids. We don't, we are focusing entirely on managing COVID in the children. We also need to give, equal amount of attention to immunizing kids.
Yes.
Because until we start kind of planning, it will, once you start planning, then only can you implement, and then only is it going to happen. So we also have to think of when are we planning to open schools? How do we protect children then? What age group are we going to allow to go to school? Are we going to change? Because that is also a thing which causes a great deal of panic amongst the parents. Just the thought now of sending children to school. You can't make them do a good, social isolation or social distancing in school, and they have to eat. So it's not that they won't be eating, together. So there are many concerns, and that can only, we can only get some reassurance if the children are immunized.
Absolutely.
So we have to focus, as much as we are focusing on managing them. If they have COVID, we have to focus on immunizing them.
And the thing is, Dr. Sheth, there are countries across the world that are already, already administering vaccine shots to children. Whether it is the US or Germany, China is doing it. Several other countries have already started doing it as well. So that's also causing a great deal of concern among Indian parents. They're saying that, countries across the world are doing it already. India is supposed to be the big, the big vaccine capital of the world. So why haven't we gotten our act together already? How do you address those concerns when parents come to you, ma'am?
I'm also a parent. So these are the genuine concerns. But at the same time, we have to understand, there are more factors to make the vaccines available. So first is the safety, and second is the production. And that is probably a stronger reason that government is taking its own time. I mean, in my assumption. But, as far as we are all reading, hearing, and seeing that already the vaccines are in the phase 2 and 3 trials by Covaxin. The other company, Zydus Cadila, probably also has applied for the license. And probably, the companies from the US, the Pfizer is also willing to, contact the government. So we have to wait from our own government, about the status of all these processes. But we have to wait till they are proved safe and they are available, because we can't create the chaos and we have a big population to cover. But as Dr. Bakshi said, it's equally important to prevent, because children need to come out of this lockdown.
Yes,
and
very true.
Vaccination is a priority. So we hope that this will happen soon. Now, what is the time frame of the word soon? We don't know, but we look forward. We have still, come out from very, very challenging time, and we will come out of this also.
Final question to you, Dr. Nagesh, is, so would you agree with me then, sir, that if the recommendations being made by the three of you here are implemented, if we get children vaccinated at the earliest, would you say that in a large part, the third wave as we understand it now or expect it could be much milder, if not averted altogether?
Absolutely. Prevention is always better than cure. The history of vaccination this last 40, 50 years has suggested that diseases which are big scourges, earlier days, pandemics like smallpox, and for example, even in our own lifetimes, we have seen the complete disappearance of diseases like diphtheria, whooping cough, tetanus. This is definitely going to be. And the best thing is parents would definitely accept immunization. In our practice, last 30 years, we've been seeing that parents are very, very, very proactive when it comes to vaccinating their children. For that matter, in this last 1 year, they've been concerned about not being able to vaccinate for other diseases, which are the standard vaccinations which are available. So vaccine preventable diseases have been reducing morbidity and mortality across the globe, and in a very significant way. So if a good vaccine, and trials have suggested even in young children, it is going to be helpful, and plus adult immunization also, because you see the child is like in a cocoon or a bubble, you can say, of a family members. If everybody around the child is vaccinated, even the youngest of child feels protected. So vaccination is the way to go. While we are parallelly doing other things, preparing and ramping up facilities to look after sick children when that happens, if at all, let's pray that doesn't happen. I think we have to parallelly try to ramp up vaccination for children and of course the adults, so that children are protected. Coronaviruses are not going to go away. The next few years, we are going to be still seeing always probably a little lesser mutated down forms of coronaviruses. It is probably going to remain in the community like the influenza. Probably every year we'll be giving a COVID vaccine to any of our children, or maybe adults are going to take it. But I think we have to still use protocols of COVID appropriate behavior as has been discussed, and parallelly keeping it in mind that about 1% of children can still become very unwell, and we have to sensitize parents and the community health workers, general pediatricians in the community, and of course hospitals have to be prepared to receive these babies and treat them. If picked up early, these children have a very good future. In fact, this last 1 year, hardly any child of ours who has had multi-inflammatory syndrome has had it bad. We have not had much mortality at all. So we're looking forward to be able to tackle this situation better.
I genuinely hope that trend continues. Having very, very few children with, with serious symptoms is something that we should all be proud of. It's been because, not just because children are resilient, but also because of the work of parents and the work of medical practitioners like yourselves, that we've been able to at least buck that trend. But in a country as large as ours, we cannot take any chances. With the mutations happening, considering that huge surges can happen in a matter of just a couple of days, as we've seen in the second wave, means that there are absolutely no risks that can be taken. COVID-appropriate behavior, strict following of guidelines, speaking to pediatricians and like yourselves and following their advice to a T is going to be absolutely critical to making sure, if not making it milder, averting and avoiding a third wave entirely. Thank you very much, Dr. Bakshi, Dr. Sheth and Dr. Nagesh, for your time and your wisdom on this. Parents across the country will be thankful for getting professional words like your own. And while we're waiting for vaccines for children, there is hesitancy across the world. Adults are refusing to take vaccines for different reasons. And that's the reason why in many countries there are incentives now for adults to come and get their vaccine, from marijuana joints to free beer to biryani here in some parts of India, and many more gifts and lures and incentives just to get that jab. Take a look.
Take a vaccine shot and get a beer. That's right. In America, people are being lured with goodies to get vaccinated, and US President Joe Biden is personally leading the campaign.
Anheuser-Busch announced that beer is on them on July the 4th. That's right, get a shot and have a beer. Free beer for everyone 21 years or over to celebrate the independence from the virus.
In New York, subway riders are being offered free 7-day passes if they get the jab at stations. And Washington State is using marijuana as a bait to get people inoculated. Call it vaccine hesitancy or fear, but several parts of the world are seeing a reluctance among people to take the shots.
Like Ohioans are definitely gamblers, so if there's like any like type of risk or reward that we can win, everybody's all in for it.
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely encouraging people to get their vaccine. I know a couple of people who actually did get it because they want to win $1 million or that free scholarship.
It's an incentive for sure. I'm definitely going to register and get my name out there. Who doesn't want to win $1 million?
In Hong Kong, you could even win a new flat worth $1.4 million if you take the vaccine. Or a Tesla. Restaurants and cafes have offered discounts for vaccinated customers. Even Serbia has picked up the trend with a Cash for Jabs scheme to help push the vaccination pace in the country. India is not far behind. Although the free offers are more modest, in Kovalam, a fishing hamlet near Chennai, people are getting biryanis as treats if they embrace the jab. The push from volunteers of the S.N. Ramdas Foundation, STS Foundation and Chiraj Trust comes after just 58 out of the over 14,000 residents came forward to get vaccinated.
Our goal is to make sure 100% of Kovalam is vaccinated as soon as possible. Biryani is a good draw for people. It's a fun atmosphere rather than making it a sterile hospital atmosphere. People are coming and are quite encouraged and excited, and there's a buzz about the program.
The residents of the hamlet can now also count on weekly lucky draws for vaccine recipients. The sweepstakes involve mixer grinders and 2-gram gold coins, leading to a big boost in vaccination numbers. Getting the jab is purely voluntary, but many are still not aware that the vaccine could save their life. What better than a little incentive to push the message through? Bureau Report, India Today.